We've got all 12 entrants here, and we'll keep this moving reasonably quickly, so we're not here for too long. The general format is we're just going to go through all the key elements for leg 2, and then at the end of that we'll make the opportunity to have questions and so on as well, if you've got any clarification you need and so on. But at the same time, as we're dealing with any particular subject, if you have a question, just stick your arm
Sally's
up,
going to do a chat at the end.
we can respond directly to that just to clarify everything that's going on. So, okay, and is Simon Kerwin here? No, Ian Herbert-Jones is here?
Yes.
Where's Ian? Yep, cool, okay. So, all right, so we'll move straight on to a few interesting subjects. So first of all, we'll go next slide. Okay, that's the course. It's only a general graphic, not really there. I think you all know what's going on. We'll leave Cape Town at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and to clarify, it's Crozets to Gulen to starboard, and just to be clear on the waypoints, you don't join a line between the waypoints as a no-go zone. It's really all about doing what you want to do and then get up and leave that waypoint to starboard. Okay, you need to get around it. If you do miss the waypoint for whatever reason, you need to declare that. And it could be that you're under pressure because of the particular storm that you might be in, and it's unsafe to make your way to that waypoint. Now, you can claim that as an explanation, but you need to do it while you're on the water, not when you get into Auckland. And the reason for that is we need to assess the accuracy of your claim to miss that waypoint. And from there, we will decide one of two things, whether you will get a time penalty or whether we say, yeah, that's acceptable. And the definition of that will be that if you were strategically making racing decisions and you had ample time to head up towards that waypoint, if we deem that to be the case, you may well get the penalty for missing the waypoint. So we will look closely about the issue of why you didn't get there. Having done that, we will then reissue you with another waypoint just to bring you up. You might have just missed it, or you might have missed it by 100 miles, but we will send you a note and say, well, we accept that, but now your individual new waypoint will be X, and you will be required to go up and around that waypoint, and then you won't get a penalty. Is that pretty clear? So it's as safe as we could make it. And for your interest, we've actually extended the voyage opportunities a bit further south than we would normally have done to follow the guidelines from MRCCs for rescue purposes, okay? Because we understand that you need to get down there to make the most of the weather and things like that. So I think it's a good compromise. Okay, next one. We just want to reaffirm a few things on crisis management. It's very important. The first rule of crisis management for us is that you deal direct with rescue coordination centres in the first instance, by EPIRBs and all those opportunities you have to alert the world that you need assistance. And then secondly, if you get the chance, we would like to know, maybe you can give us a call on your satellite phone, do whatever you want. But the one thing that can't happen, and we've gone through this in the major briefings in Southampton before we left, is that you start dealing direct with the next of kin. Okay, there is a set procedure. I won't go through it all now. You know what that is, right? Your responsibility is to deal with us first, or rescue coordination centres first, organise your own assistance, whatever, but keep us in the loop, because we'll be the ones that are then working with your manager, your onshore manager, and the various next of kins involved. So please, if you're not familiar with that or unsure of it, please go through your crisis management plan now before you start, and familiarise yourself. You might have new crew on board, just to make sure you're comfortable with what's going on. If you've got any questions or clarification you need, you can certainly just contact Georgie or me or whatever, and we will give you specific clarifications on the issue. As you know, this is a very demanding leg, okay, quite different, even though some of you had some serious weather in the first leg. It's Southern Ocean that's coming up, so it's very important that we get the whole crisis management plan clear. Now, I'm sure you all know that you can do whatever routing and planning you want, looking at everything now, prepare and get your 10-day forecasts and so on, because once you leave, you don't have any more access to that. But I just remind you the importance of the Agulhas current. You can pick up 3 knots pushing you in the right direction, or you can get 3 knots pushing you in the opposite direction. And it affects the wave form that you're going to experience. You all know about wind against tide or wind against current and so on. So make sure you absolutely plot the Agulhas currents and the eddies and all those things before you go, because they probably won't change much at all in the next week once you leave here. And it is a safety issue because big ships have come unstuck in the Agulhas current in big storms and so on. So I'm sure you're all aware of that. We don't want to harp on it, but it is a significant navigational issue. The next one is the weather that you're likely to experience on the way through. And again, you know what's going on. There are a few of you who have already been in the Southern Ocean and understand exactly what's happening. This isn't a forecast for your upcoming start. We don't go to that track anymore because you all know how to get the best weather and you can all make your own decisions on what's going on. But I'd just like to remind you that it's very important to stay safe. You have the ability to manoeuvre quickly to get away from things. And again, without obligation, our role is to inform you of any weather that's approaching you and may impact you within 48 hours that is forecast wind over 35 knots. All right, and again, we use Windy, the various models on Windy to determine whether, based on your current track and speed and our impression of where we believe you will be headed as this weather's approaching, whether or not it is actually forecast winds of 35 knots. Now, you also probably know that if you've got a forecast wind of 35 knots, you could experience 50 knot gusts, 60 knot gusts and so on. So we will keep an eye on you without obligation, and we will send a format forecast to you as we've described previously, which will give you quite a bit of detailed information. It'll give you wind direction, wind strength expected at the time we give you. You'll see the time of the message to you. We will show you the UTC time, where we believe you are in 48 hours or 24 hours. We can't give you an estimated GPS coordinates of where we believe you'll be. It's generalised. And when we give you that, it'll give you the time, the wind strength and direction. It'll give you the gust, expected gusts, the sea state, height of sea state, secondary swell, sequence between swells, 10 seconds, 11 seconds. And if we think it's of importance, we may also include the barometric pressure you're likely to experience at the time. Very simple, easy to understand, and easy to read. Not like some of you received as you approached Cape Town. The forecast we gave approaching Cape Town was generalised because it was a specific area, and we basically gave wind strength, wind direction, sea state. It was a simple English language forecast for that zone that you were going to transit. The ones we give you for the Southern Ocean will be more specific and more detailed. What we are going to do is, within 48 hours of you leaving, we will give you an example of the type of forecast you would get if the weather was to be extreme. So it'll show as a test, and we'll give you the similar forecast format that you would experience if there was heavy weather coming, so you can get familiar with what that looks like and how it's coming to you. So is that pretty clear? So it's not going to be a heavy weather one. It'll just give you a forecast format with all the details that we would normally send. Okay. So, Simon's not here. Where are you, Ian?
He's here.
I think, can I get a show of hands how many people here have actually been into the Southern Ocean, like not just around Cape Town and so on, but actually transiting one of the Southern Ocean legs from, say, Cape Town to Australia or Australia to Cape Horn? Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's loud. It's loud. Okay, so what I thought we'd do is Ian's been through it, Victoria's been through it. Victoria, do you want to come up, and we might get you to just say something as well? What we want to do is just have a conversation, a short conversation for about 5 minutes about the sort of things you're likely to expect, because it is like a machine. And I'll give you some of my experiences first, and then I'll hand over to Ian and wrap up with Vittorio. There is a consistent system of low pressure systems that form on the Antarctic coastline. Okay, you have a huge high in Antarctica. It's one giant high, and all the air rushes from the centre of Antarctica down to the Antarctic coast. When it hits the water, there is a series of small low pressure systems forming in the 60s, and they all basically head in a northeasterly direction up into the Southern Ocean. They'll go across 60 south and they'll move up into the 50s, and they can intensify, they can increase in size, and they're all moving generally that northeast, and then when they get up there they'll start heading easterly and so on. And as they approach, you will get a northwesterly, okay? And that northwesterly will always be overcast, it'll always usually be raining, and so on. And you can see it in your barometer, you'll see it coming. You see, yep, here it comes, clouds, overcast. The wind will then slowly start to increase. And if you don't know what the wind speed's going to do, if you end up seeing the northwesterly building to 35 knots, 40 knots, okay, 45 knots, what will then happen if it's daylight, you will actually see, in the distance, you'll see blue sky, the first blue sky you've seen for a while. And that's telling you that the front is coming through, and that blue sky is going to be a southwesterly, and it comes in with a bang. So imagine this, you've got northwest, you see the blue sky coming, get ready for the jibe because it's going to hit you with a bang, because if you've got 35 knots of northwesterly, you're going to get about 40 to 45 knots of southwesterly. It's always about 20% more powerful than the actual northwesterly, and it'll hit just like that. Sometimes it can go bang within 5 seconds, all right? And then within, depending on how long the northwesterly has been building up, it's been building up over 3 days, that sudden bang will probably last maybe 15, 20 minutes, half or whatever. Sometimes only last 5 minutes. And then it'll immediately, because it swings to the southwest, and it'll immediately start to decrease, and it'll end up being a little bit less than the northwesterly was, because there's only so much air to share around, and then it'll settle in and maybe build up to a similar strength of the northwesterly. The seas will build, you have blue sky, fluffy water, all that sort of stuff. And these things come through one after the other, bang, bang, bang. And the other thing I'd like to say is that, so just be ready for that. At night time it's challenging because you can't see it coming, but you can follow your barograph really closely. The other thing that happens is, and from my experience when I went around in the VOC, even in daylight, you have these big clouds, okay, in the southwesterly. And under these big clouds that could be the size of a city block or half a city, the wind will always increase, probably 20% under that cloud. And so my program then was that I would set the boat up to race during the day because I could see where these clouds were coming, and I'd be full rig, whatever I needed to power the boat up. But at night time, when you can't see those clouds, I would always be prepared. I'd reef the boat at night time, go down below, and the boat would be sailing by itself. And when these clouds come over you, that sudden increase, you're set up for it, so you don't have to rush up and do it. And then in daylight, as soon as it starts to clear up, you get back out, shake out the reef or whatever it is, and go for it. So just be aware, under those clouds, you're going to get a 20% increase in what's going on. I won't go into sea state and stuff, but I think I'll pass it over to Ian now to just any experience you might want to give. Yeah.
So Don, you just nailed it. That's exactly what we're going to get, what we're going to see. Think about the gusts, guys, because the gusts are shocking, and they all join up, and when all the gusts join up, ain't a gust anymore, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got 60 knots of wind. So think about when we're preparing the boat for those gusts. That transition can happen real quick, and then if it stays southwest, we end up with 2 sea states, as you all know, right? So that's the other thing to keep in mind. But other than that, we'll go into the big one now. Go into the big ocean. It's a beautiful place.
Oh yeah.
Enjoy it. Don't be too anxious about it. It's just another body of water. But we will see that pattern that Don described time and time again, and it's kind of rinse and repeat. Just enjoy it. It's going to be really cool. Yeah.
But I have really little to add because in this current situation, what I think the most danger is the fact that not having precise meteorology, we don't know which height we are of the low pressure, we can determine by the direction and of the wind, substantially, because we see barometric pressure, but we don't know the pressure in the center, unless this data will be provided by Pastor Guardian or some net, but up to now that wasn't happening. So you will have, you don't know how much time we will be into the system. The big problem there is partly it's very cold, so it's colder than the Pacific, but it's the cross waves. The waves are very short, very, very short. They are big waves, they are long, but in proportion they are shorter than in the Pacific. So when the cross waves come and make a breaker, this breaker does come from the side, but come from the top, and can be really, really heavy. The boats we have are not the best one to go in this ocean because they are non-surfing boats. I remember experience that surfing down at 30 knots, 33 knots for minutes down this wave, having the hell happening 4 meters in back of me. And in this case, with our boats, you will take the breaker on you. So, guys, it's very, very dangerous also because we have hand sails and most of us. So we have 3 or 4 people working on the bow. And you really have to have a good helmsman to keep these people safe. And some guy looking always in the back and call them in and just dive into the doghouse or into the entrance, something happening. Another tip I can give you is to bow people, if it's possible, hunt on halyards, not on side line. Because sometimes you have to climb up the mast like a monkey, because under your feet you have a river going, no? It depends if the boat is surfing, pointing high with the bow pointing out, the boat pointing down. Just do things very safely. We can wait the limit, keep the sails up to the gust is 30 meters on the back. We usually tune the boat for the gust moment, no? Because also leaving or taking down the reef, back winds with the mainsail again, the shroud, the mast, chafing there is super hard, usually. Put down haulers on jibs and on the reef line, so you must winch down the sail sometimes. So you have not to go on the bow to take down the jib. If you let it go in the water, there is no problem at all. And then once the boat is low, you can take it on board. These are the way to do things. You will have others, but just use your imagination to minimize the time people stay in the bow of the boat. And try to reduce sails before they go so they don't have to fight too much with breakers coming up and down. Also, the helmsman is very dangerous because, at the time that you were breaking on this boat, they were breaking, being throwing on the wheel. Sometimes you remember some boats they have like protection on the back, just to minimize the impact of the wave. So somebody always looking back. There is resting people under the doghouse that can look back on the time and give you an advice that the big waves coming, the big breaker is coming. For the rest of the young sailors, it's a beautiful place. You see something that you just see in the ocean. The waves are beautiful. You have images of lots of birds, full of birds. I remember one of the best I saw was like the vertical wave, 3 Arctic dolphins coming down out from the water, straight horizontally like the tiger when he jumps over the ring of fire. Whales. Be aware of containers, because in the Uljas, in the Cape, it's a very trafficked route. Sometimes you can see them, sometimes not in the night. Be aware of growlers and icebergs, because also if we are up north, they can come up. I remember in my last Wanderlog, for example, the first one I saw it in the Atlantic at 37 knots, so we already been there now. So now it should be worse because the time is coming up and they are melting probably more than usual. Have fun, let's stay in contact. Let's stay in contact because we are saving each other. So, especially the one in the back, try to, not so you're supposed to say in a group, but that is very, very important that the boats around you know a couple of times a day if you're good or not. If you're not in the radio, we will check immediately the next day. Probably don't give us the possibility to send him a message because they're worried because this guy that didn't show up, no? So you can contact by phone and let us know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah, I just remind you of the story. It's in the program of Sayula, Swan 65. They got completely dumped. Major knockdown, virtually upside down, damaged the boat. So it doesn't matter how big your boat are or where you are. I also just remind you about the issue of what I call holes. Yes, we're always looking for the big waves and so on, and in the cross wave pattern, you'll get these holes. Where you just look, you'll see them. You just look over and say, "Geez, look at that!" And they'll come through like not a freak wave, but what the effect is, if you drop into one of these holes, it's usually because of the cross wave, and that's the first indication that you might get something just clams up behind you and just dumps you. Simple as that. And I don't want to go too much about my experience, but I had 7 knockdowns with the mast in the water on this particular leg, and a couple of them were quite violent. In the third leg, 3 of us were in a very bad storm. I was rolled 360. King Bertels was upside down for 12 minutes before the boat recovered, and another broke booms and bits and pieces. So, and in those experiences, it was estimated they were 23-metre swells, but they were the kind ones because they were a lot. It was a storm that built over 8 days. We were moving at the same time as that storm, and the swells just became massive. Fortunately, the wind was always in the same direction. We didn't have cross waves, but they were big, and so the top 3 metres or so was breaking on these 23-metre swells. So expect anything, but in my opinion, this is without doubt the most demanding leg of the Ocean Globe race. So we jump in early. Okay, any questions? Anything we can? Everyone's happy with that? Yep. Okay. I think we're on to Georgie. Yes.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all. Not nervous at all talking to you all here today. I just want to say how really fantastic it is to see you all in one spot. It was so wonderful to watch you all come in after leg 1. And I'm going to be really emotional saying goodbye to you on leg 2. It's just, you've become my friends, and I thank you so much for your patience with the paperwork, the immigration, the registration process, everything you have had to achieve in such a short time in Cape Town. So thank you for your patience. And if sometimes I'm hiding under my desk, it's because I'm having a nervous breakdown. So bear with me. So sailing instructions. The sailing instructions we issued on Monday, I think it was. Totally take your feedback. It was a little bit complicated. So I have put on the official notice board a live link to the current sailing instructions. So on your crew pass, you'll have a QR code. If you want to scan the QR code, and on the notice board, there is a live link to the new sailing instructions. And by the end of today, I'll be issuing paper copies to all skippers. So you've got a paper copy on board. Don, did you want to have a word about the sailing instructions?
Actually, just before Georgie gets into it, I just realised I forgot to bring up a couple of very key issues, not about sailing instructions. When we were talking the course, I just wanted to talk about man overboard situations. Just to reiterate, if you believe you've detected a false man overboard alert from your AIS, okay, it might be an inflation of your jacket, please let us know because marine traffic is obviously monitoring via satellite. So a false activation of an AIS beacon or a false activation of your PLB, I know you will do that, but I just want to reinforce how important it is. It's already happened twice. The other thing with that is in terms of the OGR is absolutely a race. Okay, these boats can sail at pretty interesting speeds with 80% effort. You've got to push really hard to give it that extra effort. And if everything's going well, you know, the red haze can come over and you start driving the boat super hard and pushing it to the limit. I just remind everyone, watch out for that red haze, because when it's pushed hard, that's when things happen. And just as long as you know when you're pushing hard, because you'll slowly over the days, you'll increase your limits. It'll go higher and higher and higher. And then all of a sudden, bang, something happens. So, oh yeah, in retrospect, maybe we were pushing a bit hard. So reflect on everything you're doing. It's critical, you know, it's vital. We want to see everyone get into Auckland. And, you know, if you look back 50 years ago, there was problems. We're a lot better prepared. So please just be very mindful of that. And look after your mates. You know, I know you're already doing it really well, but just keep an eye on everyone, you know, within your team, and remind them if you think there's something, you know, that doesn't look so good. Okay, so for the notice of race, I think you're okay
happy?
with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
okay.
keep going. Not notice of race, the
Sailing instructions.
sailing instructions.
There's a slide missing. So this must be an old copy. So apologies for that. We're talking about departure day. There was another slide, but basically we're going to come onto your boats at about 8 o'clock in the morning to do the security seals. This is Sunday morning. And that'll be myself and Marco, who will come on from 8 o'clock onwards for you to put your phones away. So final messages to loved ones before 8 o'clock, and then we'll come and do the security seals from 8 o'clock onwards. The other slide actually did say as well, at 10:30, we're all going to assemble by the boats, by the steps, by the Woolworths supermarket. We're all going to assemble there to have a final group photograph, which is a really nice moment to see you all in your sailing kit, ready to go out into the Southern Ocean. So at 10:30, we're going to say goodbye to you, and you can all enter the pontoon and onto your boats. Again, I have to manage the numbers that are on the pontoon, because quite frankly, they'll just collapse because of the weight of everybody. So I ask you to nominate 10 people that you'd like to cast your lines off to say goodbye. We can't have 400 people on the pontoon. So managers or skippers, if you wouldn't mind letting me know who your 10 people are that you'd like to have by the boat, will then restrict entrance onto the pontoon. Be nice if everybody could, but I'm sorry I can't. So for the, can we go back one slide, please? Can we go back one slide, please? Thank you. So on departure, although port control is on channel 14, they have requested that you do not ask for permission to leave the port on channel 14. I'll be communicating with port control and telling you it's fine to go. So the first departure is Spirit of Helsinki. Don't know why the numbering's wrong, I apologise. So Spirit of Helsinki. The only reason it's this order is first in, first out. So whoever came in first, you're the first ones out. Oh, that was the picture I wanted to show you. Thank you. So we're going out in 5-minute intervals, and I'll communicate with you that port control are happy for you to go. The timings may alter just because there might be shipping movements in and out of the port entrance. So just wait for on channel 74, the call sign is Mini Mona, and if you don't hear clear to go for your team, please remain in port. Everyone okay with that? Yeah, good. So the sailing instructions. in the sailing instructions, we have the communications. There's the channels, just if you're listening out, but please refrain from using channel 14 and use channel 74 to communicate with us if you have any issues, etc. on channel 74. So, start day. We have two options for the crew members who weren't in the briefing, and we will be releasing which one it is depending on the wind in the day. As we have Table Mountain behind us, it apparently changes the weather patterns around here quite phenomenally. So we'll wait to hear whether it's start 1 or start 2, but we'll give you a precise location on the day of the start. This is a very crude diagram. We have two ends of the start line. We have the French Navy and the South African Navy vessels.
Maybe. Still not
Definitely
confirmed.
French.
Still not confirmed.
Oh, apparently it's still not confirmed. So we will wait and see, but we'll let you know in good time so you can find the start line. Can we just keep back on that slide? Thank you. If it is the Navy vessels, the start signals will be going from the Navy vessel and also the flag signals as well. But as it's not confirmed, I will communicate that to you all via your manager, via your skipper, and on the notice board. All okay? Good, thank you. This is all in the notice of race. We have our time check at 13:30 to be sure that we're all working on the same clock, and then it's the same sequence as we used in Southampton. So that's no news to you, and you've seen it all before, but it's in the sailing instructions. Okay. So, I'm a big believer in hitting things with a simple stick. The finish line was really quite difficult from the instructions we were given from the race officer in Auckland. So I've had a chat with him and he's agreed to a new process which I've updated in the sailing instructions. So your finish line is simply in your sailing instructions. It is the New Zealand Yacht Squadron line. And in the sailing instructions are the exact coordinates. All you have to do is monitor channel 74, and that's how you finish. Nothing else. We don't have to change channel. You don't have to text anything in, because you can't. So I've made it as simple as possible. The full coordinates are in the sailing instructions. Once you've crossed the finish line, you make your way through to Jellicoe Harbour, where the yellow arrow is. And as you can see, we have to go into quarantine as soon as we arrive in Auckland. And it's the red circle is your first stop in Auckland. The green part is all the berthing for the OGR boats. And we've got Steinlager and Lion coming to stay with us as well. But you must remain in that quarantine until you are cleared. There's going to be a lot of checks on your boat. You remember to take with you your hull cleaning documents, which hopefully they've started, haven't they, the hull cleaning? The diver was here yesterday. A spirit to keep if you're done? 3. Tomorrow, okay. So your hull cleaning documents, you're going to have inspections on board to check for your biosecurity. All details are in the appendix of the sailing instructions. Be really careful. If they find anything that doesn't comply with biosecurity, it's going to be $4.50 per kilo to dispose of, which can add up when you've got 12 crew members on board. So eat everything before you get to Auckland. They will also go through some of your storage areas for food. when they'll be checking for insects, flies, anything that is a threat to the biosecurity of New Zealand. So be wary of that. If they find something, a full clean of your vessel will be required to decontaminate it. Just a warning. So housekeeping as we're going along, down leg 2 in the Southern Ocean, that's going to be fun. And if you arrive in quarantine after 6 o'clock in the evening, you have to stay there. They don't work at night. So you'll have to remain on board until the next morning when the office opens. So that could be a good 12 hours. So plan your passage and arrive when the office is open. Okay, so you don't have to wait. If you've got any questions about the biosecurity, I will do my very, very best to answer them. Any questions on quarantine and your arrival, your advance notice of arrival into Auckland, come and find me in the office and I'll talk you through it. Any questions? Oui. I can't hear you. Might have to use the microphone. I'm sorry.
We saw yesterday in the sailing instruction that before arriving to the finish line, there are exclusion zones.
Yes.
Can you explain better?
Yeah, there are exclusion zones within the approach area to Auckland. And I've included all of the exclusion zones for moving traffic within the vicinity. They are all in the appendices of the sailing instructions. I've just put them at the back so it doesn't complicate. These are areas you have to obviously not be sailing in, and I've given you all the voyage marks that you need to be aware of on your approach. If you are requiring assistance, you can go on the radio, and that's channel 06. So if you need help when you're coming in. But free to come in, you're one vessel, but just be aware of those exclusion zones. Does that answer your question? Good. Any more questions on the start and finish? I can't believe we're talking about start day again. It's really sad you're all going. So, okay, I'm going to hand over to Dom.
Yeah, this one's died, I think. We just skipped a slide. It was back on the other one, but I just wanted to remind you as crew that if you and working with your skipper and so on, the tweets coming off the boats, you can have 4 a day, 1 every 6 hours if you want. Maybe if you want to send a tweet, if the boat's only sending 1 a day, maybe you could ask the captain, say, hey, can I send a tweet? Remember that. The SoundCloud calls that we did during this leg, some of them were extending to be up to 17 minutes, which we think is a little bit too long. So we're going to try and cap the SoundCloud calls to about 8 to 10 minutes max. So we'll start trying to wind you up and sort of try and end it at about 10 minutes. When they're really long, people following might get a bit bored with what's going on. When you're doing something with your own language, if it's in French or Finnish or whatever, quite often it's someone just reading a dialogue, which is fine. But just be mindful that we try to do the English one first, and it might only be a few minutes, and then ask you about doing the next one. We're going to try and really focus on 10-minute max on that one. What else? Yes.
Question: if you miss 1 or 2 weekly calls, can you catch up later? Send a video message to catch up and have another call.
Okay, the question was, if you miss one of the calls, your scheduled time, can you come back in at another time to do that? Oh, we miss. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that was probably referring to what actually happened with our comms situation, which we explained in the briefing with the skippers and managers the other day. We had a very unfortunate situation where our SIM card supplier let us down greatly, and we tried to recover from that. And by the time we had we'd lost virtually a week. So we were then coming into the next week, so some boats missed out on the final approach. I don't believe that situation will happen again, but if we did, there's no use having 2 calls in the same day or same week. I think it would mean obviously we do a longer call to catch up for the week that was missing. And just on that, just again, if you do miss your scheduled call, you can do it the same day, but you can see the other boats that are on scheduled calls those days. Just wait until they're finished and then come in at the end, so we don't double up. And then again, if for whatever reason you're busy that day and you miss you're not able to call us on that day for weather or issues, you can certainly come in on another day. Just be mindful of the schedule that we've already got with the other boats, so you don't call in over the top. We're happy to get your SoundCloud recording up as soon as we can. You have a lot of followers, wondering what's going on. So, and the photos were great, the videos were great, so just carry on doing what you're doing with that. That's fantastic. I think that's me done on that one.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Oh, one final one, just on media stuff, sorry. Just a reminder again, it was really important now. We're placing a lot of importance on the approach flags and your cockpit lee cloths. So obviously if it's blowing 40 knots, you can't put them up, but we really appreciate you putting the lee cloths up in the cockpit and having the McIntyre Adventure flag and the OGR flag flying off the cap shrouds down low. And then once you're approaching the marina or in the marina, just your sponsors' flags up. It's mainly looking to the future of the OGR. We don't, it's when we see those images, we can show partners, potential partners for the future, that yes, it is a requirement under the notice of race to display partner flags. So thanks for that.
Cool. Just a little note on the weekly calls. It doesn't have to be your skipper. Why don't we share the love and hand the phone over to somebody else? Have your youngsters come on, or somebody who wants to do a special message. So it's really nice to talk to different people. So we're encouraging you to let other people do the weekly call as well. And I'm sure your family would like to hear your voices as well.
Can I add something there as well?
Yeah.
Just to be sure it's clear, your youth crew is able to make a satellite call to any organisation that is coordinated via your manager. In other words, if your youth crew, anything they can do to spread the word about what they're doing, has a conference happening or an event happening with young people, and you get a request, could we, from the organisers, could we talk to someone on the boat? We allow that for the youth crew, okay, that's the first thing. And the way it works is that that function or event is on at a set time and date. We get the message to your boat, say, look, they would really love to speak to the youth crew, and we allow that. It's a 20-minute call, and a lot of people feed off that. And at the same time, if you have associated with a particular charity, we will consider an approach from you to make a call from someone on the boat into that event to support that charity. Okay, thanks.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, just a final reminder of the events for Cape Town. We've got a press conference this afternoon, and Jack will talk about that after this moment. And there is a diplomatic drinks reception with the skipper and mates over in our office area between 6 and 8. Tomorrow, a reminder, between 10 and 1, it's your green card revalidation. A couple of you have already completed, so well done for that. Pop and see me, and we just revalidate your green card to say you're ready to go sailing. So if we can do that by 1, that allows me enough time to make sure the emergency sheets are absolutely perfect to send to MRCC. So please don't be late, okay? Thank you. We've got prize giving at the Royal Cape Town Yacht Club between 5 and 7:30. So drinks and substantial nibbles, whatever that means. So we'll see. It's not a full meal, so you may want to book book a table for dinner at the yacht club afterwards. So your team managers have your family and friend tickets. If you haven't collected them, come and find me again and I'll give you your tickets. And crew, make sure you have your crew passes. That will get you through the door. And as it's the Royal Cape Town, you need to take some identification to get through the port security. Otherwise you can't come in. It's quite tricky with taxis as well. Some of the taxis didn't get through last night to pick people up from the yacht club after the captain's dinner. Anyway, it should be a good fun evening. If you want to book a table at the yacht club, I suggest you do it today, and then you can have dinner at the yacht club afterwards. Saturday is our public farewell here. It's probably not going to take 2 hours, and you're all going to be busy anyway. But this is a chance for you all to come on stage, say goodbye to your family and friends, and have your group photographs on stage before you all leave. So it probably won't take 2 hours, but if we can be here for 11 o'clock, that would be great. And all the Auckland events are displayed on the notice board. There's clickable links. There's so much going on in Auckland. It's going to be great fun. And we've got the Royal KM New Zealand Yacht Squadron, who are our host club, of which you are members. As soon as you get there with your crew card, very cool club, really is. It's a very nice place to hang out and have lunch. We've got all sorts going on. Speak to your managers. The links are live. We've got New Year parties going on from 10 till 4 o'clock in the morning, Latin American dancing and things like that. So have a look, speak to your crew manager, and it's something to look forward to when you're on leg 2. Can I ask you as well, before I get off this mic, because I'm not liking it very much anyway, if you would like to update your ETA into Auckland based on leg 1, it will be really helpful for us as well. I think Outlaw, you've already updated yours yesterday. But if anybody feels that the submitted ETA for leg 2 is different, if you wouldn't mind pinging me a text or an email, and I can update the spreadsheet. And that's enough from me. Thank you.
Just one final issue, which is really important. It's black and white. The office closes. It closes business on Friday, and if your green card is not revalidated by close of business on Friday, the office for those issues does not open again until 10 o'clock on Monday. So it means you won't be able to start. So please place a lot of importance on that. We've made it very clear previously. To revalidate your card, you need to have all your boxes ticked, and it needs to be all completed by close of business tomorrow, or we'll talk to you again about that on Monday at 10 o'clock. Okay, so thanks for helping us with that. Okay,
Morning. Morning, everyone. I'm going to keep this super quick because you all have to be back here at 2 o'clock today. I'm sorry to tell you that for the press conference. Here's the running order. It's very simple. You just come up on stage. In this order, we'll call you up. Don will show up on stage at 9. I'll spread it Helsinki. Then we'll get the young people up and have a chat with them, and then to tell us all their interesting stories, hopefully. And then maybe we'll let you up and you can show where to chat you up. Then we have Outlaw, Esprit Peak, Neptune Triana, by Channel Africa, then our South African friends are going to come up, and then Galiana is secure. And Villa is going to perform for us at the end and sing for us. If anyone else wants to sing, do a dance, or do any challenge that they have, they are, of course, very welcome. So, yes, you can come in fancy dress, you can do whatever you want, just be interesting. So, yes, if you arrive, if you all can squash up together and make it look busy, it will also be very helpful. So, yes, if you want to submit your talents to me before the press conference, please do. But we will see you all here at 2 p.m. in uniform. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for your time today. One final thing before you all rush off and start filling your boats up with food and everything else you have to do. I want to welcome a special guest just to say a few final words. I'd like to introduce you to Sally Hunter, who was... Sally was on the original maiden crew, and she'd like to just say a final goodbye to you all.
Thank you very much. I only had an hour's warning that I was going to have to do this, hence I'm not really dressed for it. Have fun out there. It's an amazing place. Absolutely amazing. It's been brilliant to come to Cape Town and see these vintage boats doing what they were designed to do. I won't lie, you're going to have moments you're thinking, what on earth am I doing here? But most of it is just sailing, just what you do day to day. You work your watch on, you work your watch off, and you don't think about anything else. As long as you all look after each other, you'll be fine. Have fun.
Hey. Yeah. Right, all good.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All good? Yeah.
Yep, that's it.